And we are rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, we are welcoming Fish to the show. And I just want to give a very, very serious warning before we start this podcast. Very serious. I just want to say that myself and the Early Gate Show is not responsible for anything that this guest says or possibly does while we do the recording of this podcast. So I just want to get that out there. Now that that's out of the way, how's it going, Fish?
That's a pro move, man. I'll tell you what. Life is unbelievable. You know, the world is at peace. People are arguing less. We have lots of money in our pockets. I'm getting younger and better looking, and I'm on the show with you, so we can't do any wrong here.
Well, I mean, that must be how you afforded that nice shirt. And for people that are just listening on audio, Fish is wearing a nice Hawaiian shirt, very festive. Lots of palm trees. Yeah. It's a very nice shirt. I actually do like that shirt.
I guess some flamingos.
Yeah, those work too. So, all right, you go ahead. What were you going to say?
Hey, listen, before we even get started, man, I got to tell you, I actually listened to the first two shows. They're great. I mean, I hadn't saw John in forever. Get my earbud fella. I hadn't saw John in forever, which was nice. He seems like he's twice the man I remember him as. And then we had Filthy Phil, who I think is I guess he's Festive Phil or like Normal Phil now, but he's pretty awesome, and I think it's growing great with his life. But I was actually impressed with your interviewing skills. So we're throwing you a curveball here and see if you can interview me and it's all right. It'll be real good.
Well, I've always had this bad habit just to say whatever I'm thinking. It's either a good thing or a really bad thing. It can go either way.
I think that's why we get along.
Possibly.
Yeah, man.
So why do we do this?
We're both North Carolinians now, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we're both down here. Now, I'm a native, and you're an implant, but here's the thing. You're over there by the coast, so that's basically, it's like a southern New Jersey, basically. At least the beaches. And everything in between the mountains and the coast of North Carolina is also basically New Jersey at this point.
New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, yeah, man. I'm like real southern. I'm like southern North Carolina. We're right on the border. We're close to Myrtle.
Oh yeah, you're right there, close to Myrtle Beach. They call it Murder Beach. My buddies down there, that's what they call it.
Oh, I love Myrtle Beach, man. It's like the redneck Riviera, man. It's awesome down there.
It can be fun. I was down there for a year in 2021. There's this biker bar called Suck Bang Blow, which I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but my buddy wanted to go. Oh yeah, come on, we got to go to Suck Bang Blow. I'm like, what is it called? So we go there, and it's actually really fun. I had a good time.
What's that strip bar that everyone goes to down there?
I have no idea.
Come on, they sing about it. It's like a famous strip bar that's there. I have never been there either, but
I never got into that scene.
Have you ever rode the helicopters? Did you ever do one of those $25 helicopter
No, rides? I used to drive right by there when I was working down there. I drove right by those helicopters. I think they had a crash once, but I wouldn't take a risk.
Dude, $25, man. I couldn't do it either. It scares me a little too much.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Myrtle Beach roller coasters or helicopters. I think I'll steer clear of both of those.
Stick to putt-putt golf.
I did do some of that when I was down there. That can be fun.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, they're every block. Right, it's awesome.
Why don't we do this? Okay, so start out. For the audience, tell everybody. Well, let me give an introduction. We got sidetracked there. So introduction. Okay. So Fish, he sings for a band called Loafass that is from, or I guess, are most of the guys still in Philadelphia for Loafass? Okay, so Philadelphia-based band. Yeah, you left town, but they still play shows and stuff. And I've known Fish for probably at least 20 years, minimum. Through the band, we met, playing music, or bands played shows together. So what I would like you to do is start out, so tell everybody, where you're born, where you grew up, and tell your story, and then at some point, you're going to get to where we cross paths. So, Fish, the stage is yours.
All right. So up until I got married, I had never lived in one place for more than 5 years of my life. I was born in Illinois, right outside of Chicago. We moved to near Pittsburgh. We lived in Pittsburgh. We lived in Latrobe. We lived in Derry, Pennsylvania. We lived in Indiana, Pennsylvania. Then, when I was about, I guess, kindergarten age, we moved to West Virginia. So I spent from kindergarten till eighth grade, so about 8 years I spent in West Virginia. I lived in the northern panhandle, pretty close to Pittsburgh, north of Wheeling. Uh, then I moved to what does a kid from West Virginia do? They moved to Delco. So I moved to Delaware County, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. I got a taste for the city, a love for the city. Uh, I stayed there. I traveled different places. I lived in Germany for a little while. I lived in York, Pennsylvania, in Harrisburg. But for the most part, I was based out of Philadelphia. I met some friends. Good buddy Tommy. We started a band together called Loafass in 93, 94. And ever since then, we found some other people to play. We kind of hit our steam like starting around 99, and we're still going. So it's kind of cool. We've had different members come in and out. Tommy had to leave for a while. I had to leave for a while, but we're still doing it. We're still playing shows, so it's awesome. And I guess when I was in Philly and we formed Low Fast, we played around a lot. We knew a lot of people. I guess I'm a personable guy, and, and I met
Yeah.
people, and we just kind of faked our way to the scene till I started booking shows, and that's kind of where I met Earl. I think was I was it when I was first booking at Abilene? Is that where we first met?
Nope. We first met. I'm pretty sure there was a show at the Rotunda, and the Rotunda that was in West Philly. It was I don't even know what a Rotunda. I know what a Rotunda is, but this venue, this place was called the Rotunda. But
Yep.
they would have punk shows. I don't know how. It still boggles my mind how we could get venues such as a night like that was like a nice place, like a nice hall, like a nice old building where I guess if you guarantee them enough money, they'll let you have do anything basically anywhere. But anyway, so this place was called the
Yeah.
Rotunda.
I mean, keep
Go
going.
so yes, it's a little tricky because there's a slight delay. But so this place, the Rotunda, they would have these little we put together these festivals, and I think that it was probably 2004. And I think that's your band was playing, Low Fast was playing, and the Ray Grady's were playing, and that's where we first met each other. And it was all downhill from there, let me tell you.
I always loved playing with you guys because I think you got it, man. I took like a really professional wrestling approach to punk rock, and I thought it was fun. I love ripping on people. I love jabbing people. I love getting in conflicts, not like real things. I mean, I hate real conflict with people, but I love getting in. I don't know, spoofs and battles and all kinds of bullshit and pranks, and I think it's fun. And I think that's kind of what was going on at the time. It was a very carefree time in
Well,
punk rock.
you like to have fun, and I think that's why our bands got along. Is like we liked fun. Like we could crack a joke no matter how bad, and you guys were cool with it. And the same thing, vice versa. You guys would crack. It was fun. I don't know, kept it fun. There were some bands that were a little too serious for that type of thing, but we always kept it fun by not getting. We didn't take ourselves too seriously. I think is that could have been a problem too, but it was more fun that way.
It, it may have been our Achilles, but there was, man. I mean, those early 2000s, there was a lot of like pretty boy bands that were posing as punk rock bands that were around. I mean, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember when we used to have to, we would like book shows in Philly, and they would call, and you couldn't tell them you were a punk band. You had to say, it'd be like, "Oh yeah, we're metal," or "We're rock," or so you get put on some funny shows in the beginning. But you guys were always awesome, man. I always enjoyed playing with you. I thought it was a good time. We ripped on each other. We ribbed on each other, and we kind of made paved doors and made ways for each other too, because we follow each other different places in the country. Uh, we share a lot of common friends through uh, it seems to me like there's a lot of Philly bands that won't go up to New York or
Right.
don't play New York, but both of our bands were there all the time. I mean, at one
Mm-hmm.
point we were playing Philadelphia more than we were playing. Uh, I'm sorry, we were playing New York more than Philadelphia, and we're doing it like twice a week. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. We did a lot of that too. We were back and forth. We would take off like on a Monday. We would have to. Manitoba's would have shows, and those were great shows. And for people that don't know Manitoba's was a bar in New York, and it was, I think it was in the Lower East Side near Tompkins Square Park. But that was a great place to play. They on Monday nights they would have punk shows. That was like the one night a week they could get away with having live music, and they would usually
Yeah.
start early, like 7 or so. But those are really fun. It would be crowded. It would be packed. You couldn't move in that bar. It was awesome.
Well, it was great because we would drink there a lot because it was right around the corner from the Continental. And we
Right.
used to play the
Yeah.
Continental all the time. And it was the Continental, it was McSorley's, and it was Manitoba's that was there. And people that don't know, I mean, for Manitoba's, it's Handsome Dick Manitoba, who was in the Dictators for all those years. And he used to work the bar. He used to bartend. Really cool guy. A buddy of ours lived upstairs. That was a great spot. That was a great spot and a great time in the city.
Yep. I spent a lot of time there because, hey, anytime I was in that area, that was the place I would go. Because my favorite part, because they played Ramones basically nonstop on the jukebox. That right there, I
Yep.
was sold on that. Like, you put me in a place
Yep.
where they're playing nothing but Ramones, I'm good. I'll take that spot over just about any other spot.
Yeah, there's hardly any place to play down there anymore for bands our size or punk bands like that, other than Otto's is still existing. So Otto's is a cool spot. My shirt would fit in perfect there. And that's. But other than that, there's not much down there to play for smaller bands now.
I think you're starting to chop up there. Are you connected to your
I think
Wi-Fi
you
or are you
froze.
connected to your network connection? It just gave me a notification that your network connection is failed. Are you connected to Wi-Fi or are you just on cellular?
No, I just reconnected. I'm on Wi-Fi.
Okay, so we should be good now. I think what happened is maybe your Wi-Fi cut out.
It might have for a
But
second. I'm in Southern North Carolina, man. There was some
yeah.
winds blowing today. So
All
did
right.
you pick up most of that? Did that get cut off or?
No, we got I think we got the most of it. We got the
Very
gist
cool.
of it. It was just right there towards the end. So you used to book shows. Actually, let's back way up. Let's go back farther before
Yeah.
we move forward. Okay, let's go back. Okay, you're a kid in West Virginia, right? So I didn't know that about you. I never knew that you lived in West Virginia.
Yeah.
It's probably like something you tried to keep secret. It's like one of your dirty secrets. But so what did you do? So Howard, you were like 10 years old. How old were you when you were in West Virginia?
I was in West Virginia from the time I was about 5 or 6 until right around my 13th birthday.
Okay, so yeah, so what do you do? What did you do in West Virginia for fun as a kid? What was going on? What was the life of Fish? Were you
So
playing
it's
like
interesting.
coal mines or something?
No, we were more like we were up in that northern panhandle, so we were like deal country. So there was two things. My father was a funeral director, so I lived in a funeral home like almost my
Whoa.
entire childhood. And then so that was by day, but we had another house that we would go to all the time that was really out in the woods. And when I say house, it was a foundation that was of a house that was built into the side of a hill, all cinder block. But we'd go spend weekends and everything else there. And I mean, I hunted, I fished, I'd catch crawdads all the time, rode a mini bike until I could ride a motorcycle, all that kind of stuff. We'd play in the woods. It was good times, man. Mom would we'd leave in the morning with maybe a wiffle ball bat and a ball, look in a crawdad net, and we'd usually she'd whistle us home for dinner, or she used to have a big bell that she would ring, and we'd come home wherever we were for dinner, and then head back out, and then we just had to be home sometime around dark. Yeah, so that was my childhood. So coming into Philly, it was it was mind blowing to me because even though we were moving to the burbs, here's a funny story. So even though we were moving to the burbs, uh, I had no idea what a big city was. And at the time we were moving, I'm really dating myself now, but at the time we were moving is when move happened in Philadelphia. And my father had already moved before we did, and he was there, and we lived in a small town in West Virginia called Follinsby, but we lived in this small town, and since that was all I knew, I'm thinking like Philadelphia, that must everyone must know everyone, it must be the same thing, everything's down the street. Well, my dad was away, we get a Time magazine in the mail. And that's when Move had happened, and it's just Philadelphia with all these burnout houses on a block. And I'm thinking, oh shit, this is what, as a 13-year-old, I'm thinking, whoa, shit, this is what we're moving into. I'm thinking these people are my neighbors and everything else. It was a culture shock, man. It was really different. It really, really was.
Well, Delco, that's not too far from West Philly. I mean, it's kind of on the route. You got to go through West Philly to get to Delco, right?
Either that or drive by the airport. One of two things. Yeah, the only thing that separates Delco from like downtown Philly is really the airport and a couple of refineries. Other than that, we're right there.
So, see, I didn't know that about. So, were you up near like the Frostburg area? Because we used to play shows in Frostburg, Maryland. That was like the northern. That's near like the. I just know there's a little strip of West Virginia that you drive through if you're going up 81. So you're taking 81 up into PA. There's a little strip of West Virginia. You drive. It's like 10 miles maybe. Were you up that way, West Virginia, or were you?
No, we were. If you know where Wheeling is.
Yes.
So we were north of Wheeling, and like we were like maybe between 45 minutes and an hour from Pittsburgh.
Oh, you were near Point Pleasant. You were where the Mothman was. You were near where the Mothman prophecies happened. Okay, correct. That explains everything. I think maybe the Mothman paid you a visit when you were young, when you were a child, and things just haven't been the same ever since.
I may be a son of the Mothman.
I think you might be. No offense to the Mothman.
No offense at all, man.
So we did a lot of the same stuff as kids. You know, played out in the wood. I literally grew up in the woods. Like almost every single second was out in the woods. But I always liked city stuff when I was a kid. I loved skateboarding. I loved everything with city stuff. So the first chance I had to get out, I went. I took off.
It's funny, man, because we couldn't skate on anything. I mean, there was no surface. It was all gravel. Like everything was gravel and dirt where we were. But that's the first thing that I took up when I came to Philly, too, was I started skating.
Now, I have another question. How did you get involved in music? Were you younger, or was that after you'd moved to Philadelphia?
So, when I was younger, I always liked music. And, I mean, everyone says they like music, but I always like weird stuff. Like, I remember liking the Safety Dance when it came out, like, because it was weird. And I remember watching the video, and, like, these people were kind of, like, skipping through, and there's a midget, and there's...
They're called little people, Fish.
I'm sorry. Well, but back then when they recorded... But when they recorded it was a midget. So, but yes, you are correct. But I liked weird stuff like that. My parents listened to a lot of that like 50s, 60s kind of doo-woppy type stuff. So I dug that. And then I came to Philly and I started skating, and a couple of my friends liked bands like Suicidal Tendencies. And then it was right when kind of that wave of hardcore was coming in with like Gorilla Biscuits and Killing Time and Judge and all those type of bands. And I was a freshman, and I had a couple older friends that would go every weekend to City Gardens. So I'd go to City Gardens every weekend, like, or they used to have Sunday metal and hardcore shows, and I'd go, and that's kind of where the whole thing developed. I guess I was into hardcore and metal before I was into punk.
Did you join a band, like a metal band?
No,
where did you start?
I started with Tommy. I mean, I used to do some stuff like I played trombone, and you remember the rap band The Goats from Philly?
No, I don't remember them.
You don't remember The Goats?
Mm-mm.
You know Max from like Tattoo Moms and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Incognito or Black Landlord.
I've heard these names, being
Yeah.
around, but I think that was
Anyway,
before my
they were
time.
like we all hung out at the same place. I moved into Center City. I lived, yeah. So in the early '90s, I moved into Center City in like 1991. It was dead except for there was groups of people. The grunge scene was kind of happening. There was like this alternative rap. Punk was basically dead, but you would still listen to it, but it just wasn't like there weren't that many bands playing. It was like Dandelion and those type of grungy type of bands that were playing at the time. Uh, Everyone else was either like on hiatus or whatever, and that's what kind of drew me in. Those guys, the Goats, I would every once in a while I get together and practice with them, and I play trombone. And I just always wanted to have my own band, and I love punk music. I love doing weird stuff. I had no musical talent at all, and I met Tommy, and Tommy was wanted to be a guitar player. We made up a stupid name for a band called Loafass, and it was just the two of us. There was a house party we had. There was about 150 people there. It was me, him. He's playing guitar, I'm singing, and some dude's playing. We didn't even have the real drum set. He's playing like a hi hat, a snare, and like a weight bench. And he's like, and that was the first Low Fast show. And we just said, now we're in a band. We're called Low Fast. And we started looking for other people, and we found other people, and it's just kind of developed through the years. But that's my whole introduction to music, man. I don't have any deep roots in it other than it's just something I always loved and wanted to do. I like entertaining. I like making people laugh. I like people make people smile and have a good time.
Well, I think you might have missed your opportunity there with the trombone. You could have been in like a famous ska band or something. You could have been in the Bosstones.
I
Yeah, I
could
think
have.
I think you might have really blew it there.
I could have. My problem with ska music is I can listen to it one weekend a year. It's like what's rockabilly? I can listen to that one day a year, but rockabilly and like not real rockabilly, but like the stuff that they do now, like all that shit.
Well,
Um,
technically, you could take your Hawaiian shirt that you're wearing right now, and you could roll up a pack of cigarettes in the sleeve, and you could be Hawaiian rockabilly.
nice. I can roll a vape nowadays. I'll be the first one to roll a vape up in my
You
sleeve.
put a vape. I like it. That's
It's a lot.
new wave,
Yeah,
2025 new wave rockabilly.
the cigarettes are so 1990.
It's prehistoric technology. You got to light a
Exactly.
fire. You got to have fire to get nicotine.
Ah,
All right, let's
so
talk about.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. All right, let's talk about Abilene's. We haven't talked about Abilene's yet. So, for the audience, let me tell you, there's this place called Abilene's. It was on South Street, and excuse me. So, this venue, it actually has some weird stories to it, not just about the music. So, there was this venue. I think what was it, Fourth and South, or it was near Fourth and South, something like that. Fourth
Yep,
and South.
right there. Yep.
So this venue, so Fish used to book shows there, and he booked all the bands. He booked, my band, all the local bands played. And what night was that usually? What was it? Thursday night? What were the
Thursday,
nights you?
punk rock Thursdays.
Yep, Punk Rock Thursdays. So Fish, I used to always give Fish a hard time because what he would do, he would book band. He would get out of, so bands are touring. They want to come through. That's a good night to play. If you're trying to come through a town you've never been and you need a Thursday night, that is perfect. So, but what the problem is, Fish would always cave in to the bands that didn't want to play last, and this is still a problem. Let me tell you, this is not just you know we just encountered this in 2018 in Indianapolis of all places. That it was the same thing. They made the out of town band play last because the other guys, oh, I got work in the morning, and they'll go crying to the promoter, and they will whine and cry enough to where they don't have to play last. And that's the whole deal for smaller shows is that the local band plays last to keep people there, and then the out of town band plays somewhere in the middle. Anyway, long story short, a lot of Fish would often cave and put the out of town bands last, and I would always give him a hard time about that. But that's not what I want. That's totally off subject. I'll give you a chance to defend yourself, and then we'll talk about.
I'm surprised. I didn't know I did that.
Yeah, right. Just like you didn't know you wear that suit jacket, the green plaid suit jacket.
Tim owns it. Tim still has that.
Tim has it now. I wonder if what does he do? Does he put it like in a glass case up on his wall or something?
I think he sleeps and jerks off in it, I think.
Oh man, I don't even want to think about that.
Now, okay, you'll be thinking of it.
Let's talk about the infamous where the two people disappeared. So the same venue, was it on Punk Rock Night that they disappeared, or was it a different night?
It was not. It was the next night.
The next night. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I saw those people come through, but yeah, the fuck knows where they are, man.
You might have ran them off. They may have went to that show and be like, all right, we got to get out of town. We're just going to change our identities. We're going to throw our, cut up our credit cards, cut up our social security card, everything, and just start a new life in Greenland.
Dude, I went on a deep dive on that shit. On the computer one time. There's nothing. Nothing's changed since they went away. Like, they can't find anything. There's no new news. There's no nothing.
No, they're gone. You know what? They probably ended up in the Schuylkill because they owed some people money for drugs. That's always my first suspicion. Anytime I hear a story about something like that, it's like that was either a drug deal gone bad or they owed somebody money for drugs and now they're gone. But yeah,
seems like that's a dumb way to try to get your money back, though.
At that point, they already know they're not going to get their money back, so
yeah,
they're just making a point to the next person, the next people they might not get their money back from. I think that's what it all boils down to.
That could be. Yeah, that was weird.
How long did you do the Abilene thing? Because there was actually, aside from giving you a hard time, there was a lot of good shows. Like, there was a lot, it's always hit or miss, but I would say more often than not, there were always good shows. You'd usually pick pretty good local bands to play, and it was a good turnout.
Well, I love those shows, man. And I'll tell you, I think like every promoter that's in a band, they do it basically so they can get their band shows in other places, especially with the people that tour. But I loved it, man. I thought we had lots of good shows. It built up a lot of steam. We actually did it afterwards. We did it at two different places because Abilene closed. We did it at 218 for a while, and then we did it also at I guess I can't remember if it was Dobbs or Pontiac at the time, but it was one of those two places. But it was to get into something like with it that made it so easy was those were the MySpace days, and it was MySpace was great for bands. It was like the first place you could like see who they were, like how many people watched them, what kind of shows they played. All like what they said, like all that shit, man. It was like on there. There was no need for sending a demo or any of that shit, and you could get them on, and you'd meet. I mean, we met probably. I think my band's whole existence, or any success that we've had, and all the people we've played with in different parts of the country have all come from like original like MySpace type stuff.
Absolutely. I booked entire tours on MySpace before.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing. Didn't even have to leave. Not even an email. Just totally on MySpace.
That's completely how I booked Punk Rock Thursdays. It was all MySpace requests and like shit like that. And I thought it was great. I mean, you can't do that type of stuff on Facebook, or I don't think there's another music platform that you can do it the same way now. Maybe I'm just old.
Though MySpace was awesome for that. And then Phil and I were just talking about how, it transitioned from MySpace to Facebook. And then Facebook started charging, whether you're a business or you're a band, you got to pay to quote unquote boost your posts or nobody will see them. And that's when it was over. At that point, and that's when I knew it was too good to last. It wasn't going to last. And that guy, Tom from MySpace, that guy was smart. He took the money and run. And you know what? He didn't have to get involved in any of the political stuff that's going on. Like he's good. I checked him out. I found what he's doing. He travels the world taking photographs. That's all he does now. Yep.
Good for
He
him,
sold
man.
for whatever, I forget how many, was I think a billion or a couple billion, whatever he sold. And now MySpace is like nothing. It's a graveyard. There's
Dude,
nothing
it's a
there.
graveyard. I went because I had so many pictures posted on there. I went and
Oh
pulled a
yeah.
bunch of that stuff off, but it's hard to even get into now.
Yep.
Uh, but no, I think it was part of the problem was like I remember like people would have like 8 MySpace profiles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they'd be like Earl with a plant, Earl with his band, Earl
I didn't
in a
go that
van.
far. I didn't go that far. Now
Yeah.
we did start those street teams because okay, the street team existed before MySpace, right? Okay, it was more like a mail fan club. They would mail them stickers and promo stuff, and they would go around. It was more or less done through either a website or mailing. But what we did, we started the MySpace street team, and I'm telling you, we were the first one to do it. Then a lot of other bands started doing it, but we were and we had a ton of them. It was like I think 100 of all over the United
Really?
States and even parts of the world. It was fun. It was actually a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun messing with that stuff.
Oh, I did too. I mean, yeah, we booked a West Coast tour completely off of MySpace.
Yep.
There's a great story about that West Coast tour too. Do you remember what it was?
Which
What
one?
you guys did to us?
I'm trying to remember which show was that. Was that in
So-
San Diego or was that in Phoenix or was that
It might have been in. Did you guys play in outside of LA in Long Beach at Alex's?
We did, yeah.
Because I remember you guys sending pictures to us of we had our stickers that we had put up places, and you'd put Ray Grady stickers over top of them.
I don't know if I would have done something like that. It doesn't sound like something I would have done.
Oh, it does sound like something you would have done, but it could have been Yak.
Well, I honestly have no idea. So
Yeah, but
I can't I plead the fifth on that one.
but that's the type of shit I
Yeah,
love.
but here's the thing: you guys would do the same thing to us because you guys would be in a part.
Absolutely, in a heartbeat. If I see one, I keep a Loafass sticker in my pocket just in case I see one somewhere someday, so I can put it over top of it.
Right, you never know. We did that. Yeah, it was all in good fun. So so they never found those people from Abilene's. They're they're at the bottom of the Schuylkill as far as I'm concerned.
I think Eddie killed him.
Eddie who?
Eddie the kitchen guy.
Oh,
Eddie Guerrero. He died too. Eddie. Fuck's Eddie. Mark Moxley's friend. Eddie.
I don't think I remember him. If I do, I don't. If I do, I don't remember.
Yo
Is that
man. Yo man. Yo man.
I don't remember this guy.
So anyway, man. So tell me what you're doing. You making some music?
Oh yeah, I'm doing some music. I got a new album. It's so annoying because if you try to release an album now, it's not like it was even just a few years ago. If you try to release an album now, and you go to distribute it and you hit submit, you still got to wait at least 2 weeks. It's not like if you're going through like a distro like CD Baby or something, it takes forever. But I have a new album coming out. It's going to be all like I have a collection of the video game songs and the anime songs that I've done, and they're all instrumentals. And I've been meaning to put this out forever, so I'm finally getting around to doing that. But it might, at the rate this is going, I had to get mechanical licenses because a lot of them are, they have copyrights on them, even though they're video game songs. But that's taken forever. And then I'm doing these daily tune songs. They're just for fun. Like just people, I did it just, for the hell of it. But then people liked it, so I just kept doing them. Now, as far as actually playing live music again, I think I'm going to wait until I got to get to another place. I got to get to whether I end up in Nashville or Miami or wherever the hell I end up. I got to wait till I get somewhere where it's just not worth it around here. The juice is not worth the squeeze in this area. As far for what I'm concerned, for how I feel.
I feel the same way, man, because when I came down here, I'm like, maybe I'll start another band, but if I play, my problem is I just want to play with younger kids, I want to play. That didn't sound right. Can we edit out? I want to play with younger kids.
No, we're going to keep that. But now you got to explain yourself what you really meant.
Well, now we're going deep dive. No, um, I like playing with kid the youth. I like the energy of the youth.
I
They
see. I know what you meant. You meant that you want to play with people that are younger and not older, because the old people they have
yeah,
no energy to play music.
they're stuck in their ways.
Right.
They want something to sound like something. I'd rather play with people that had no experience doing what they are doing, and but have some talent and have drive to do so.
Well, that's why you
And
see guys like Iggy Pop. They're always like all their bands are like younger dudes, like in their 20s and 30s, and
yep,
these guys are like 50s, 60s, 70s, because of course
yep,
they want a backup band that is has energy and that.
yep. Because it's amazing, man. Like the musicianship in what we're doing now is at like in punk rock or like bands like us and the Blackout Shoppers and Justin's new band and all those type of bands. The talent is incredible. Like it's really good musicianship in what used to be considered shitty music, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But it and those bands I mentioned, this is no knock on them because they're all incredible. And it's not boring to go see their shows. They're still bringing energy, but there needs to be like for me to keep going on with something different. It has to be that same type of energy, and I want it from the youth and from kids and like who seriously because if you know what you're doing too much, you just fall into these tracks and doing the same thing. But if you don't know what you're doing, you take chances, you take risks, you do some crazy stuff, and that's what I do. And I have trouble finding that. I mean, Wilmington has a decent scene. Like there's a couple bands that are local that are good. There's bands that tour through, some bigger bands that tour through, or I say bigger, but bands that are bringing 250, 300 people. Um, we actually played a show in Wilmington, I guess about 6 months ago, which was cool. Loafass did, but yeah, it's a tough venture to get, and probably those kids because of their energy, they don't want to play with an old guy either.
Well, I have some good news for you, Fish. Really
Yes.
uplifting good news. It's all going to be replaced by AI soon, anyway. So
Oh,
don't even worry about it. It's
I
fine.
I'm trading everything in for a synthesizer, man.
Because all people want to do anymore, they just want to watch. There's this cat. It's on Instagram. There's this cat. It's called the It's like IUO, but it's like the biggest thing on Instagram. And I think that's TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but it's just this cat. And this guy, he started out. He took his a green screen of his cat, and every time it sings, it makes a sound like ooh, and it spins around. And what they do, since it was now they have made every song has been replaced with this cat doing that sound to do the melody, and now it's beyond that. Now they've making little short movies of this cat. It's called the cat. I don't know. I'm sure people know. In the comments, if anybody's listening to this on say YouTube or anywhere, you can write a comment. Tell me the proper what this cat is called. The cat. So yeah, so that's what people want to hear now, Fish. So I wouldn't really sweat it. That's what people are watching. That's what they want to hear, and I say let them have it. Give the
Well,
people what they want. You could do a whole set you could dress up as the cat.
maybe I'll do that. I did dress up as a monkey one time.
You sure you had to wear a costume?
That's
I couldn't resist.
bananas. Anyway, so no, but I'll tell you, it's funny. So there was an interesting show. So Loafass booked a show about a year ago at was the Fire down on Girard,
Mm-hmm.
and so I had a major thing that came up, and I was not able to go down, so I had to bag on the show. It was with Gangrene, so it was going to be a good turnout and a good show and all that stuff like that. Um, so we, I had never, Loafass had never played a show when I didn't sing. So they changed their name to Low Fizz, Loafz. I don't know, spell Low Fizz, whatever it was. And actually, for that show, my daughter Ruby, and Tim from the Handsome Pete's, Ray Grady's, sang. They did duos through the Loafass classics um, at the show, and there was a lot of kids that came out to it. And because of that, like my daughter, anytime I go back and we play Philly, she still lives in Philly. She comes out to all the shows, and she brings friends. And every time, and she's 23. Every time she does, the kids have a ball and really enjoy like what they're seeing. So maybe it's just what they're being exposed to, not so much what they're choosing. I mean, I think like you're saying, I don't even know that cat you're talking about, but you probably see it all the time. And I think it's probably because it's in your algorithm and it's reading out and everything else. I mean, I that's what I can imagine. So I think they're getting fed the same shit all the time. And the majority will always follow the majority of the shit. I mean, that's kind of the way it goes, doesn't it?
I'm going to be sending you links for that cat, so it will be in your algorithm next. Now, I
Oh
have a
no.
question. So after the show, did they decide, like, did they come up to you? Well, I guess they can come up to you, but, did you get, like, a email or maybe a phone call, and they were like, listen, Fish, maybe we're going to go with Tim and your daughter from now on? Maybe, you know...
Well, listen, man. I have no reservations about that. If they want to do that, they could do it, but they won't do it. I mean, you saw our shows. I'm I'm not. I might not be the fucking best singer in the world. I might not be the best of anything, but I'm fucking entertaining. it's it's tough to be low fast without. I think with me, and
Yeah,
so
that
yeah, but
goatee, Tim's goatee just doesn't fit the cut. Like, he would have to shave off his goatee and do a whole thing if he were going to try to live up to your image as frontman of Loafass. Now I wanted to talk about this before I forget. I want to talk about another group of people and time we spent together was at the Angry Drunk Barbecues in New
oh,
Jersey. Now this was another thing, talking to MySpace, right? The very first time I ever heard of these Angry Drunk Barbecues there was a page on MySpace called Angry Drunk Barbecue, and apparently, I think we got to play the second one, but the first one was it was Steve from Angry Drunk Graphics, the comic book company, and he had put together and just he just wanted to see. I guess he didn't want to drive, so he's like, I'm gonna book a big show. So all these bands come to me, which is not a good idea. I did it before. When I lived in North Carolina, I would do the same thing. I would try to book shows as close as possible so it cut down the driving time. But these actually, they were really fun. So that's another group of people and a lot of shows we played together. And it wasn't just at the outdoor, barbecue. He would have those shows at Asbury Lanes in Asbury Park. And those were great too. The Christmas parties. That's where he would usually have the Christmas shows. But those were really good. Did you like? I mean, I guess you guys had a lot of fun. If I remember, we all had a lot. There was
so
wait.
so
Go ahead. I'll remember what I got to say.
no. Finish. Tell us your story first, because I'll tell you. I have a different belief. I have a different recollection of the whole thing.
Okay, so my favorite one, I think my favorite one it was Asbury Lanes. It was the Angry Drunk Christmas Party, and P. Lander Z played like they usually would, and you guys, us, but this guy, a communal friend, I'm not going to name names, a communal friend of ours, decided, so we all would stay at, I don't even remember the name of the hotel that was nearby. But we
Oh,
stayed at this,
wasn't the Berkeley?
it was the Berkeley, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
so we had this one dude, communal friend, decided that he's going to have a after party in his hotel room. And I'm telling you, this was one of the craziest after parties, at least there, that I've ever been to. It was, you were jumping up and down on the bed with like 10 other people at one point, if I remember correctly.
I don't think I did anything wrong, but you go ahead.
No, it's past the, what's it called? The
The
stipulation.
breaking point.
No, you can't get in trouble for it now. It's way past that. So
Oh, okay. Oh, statute of
yeah,
limitations.
yeah, it's way past that. So it's okay that you were jumping up and down on the bed because I think that person actually had to pay back the money for the damage that was
Oh,
caused there.
Oh, okay. I can go into this whole thing. This is great. So we played. All right. So this all goes back to Bildo, and here's how we met Bildo. What happened was because we used to play in New York City all the time. We would run bus trip where we would all meet at Delilah's Den, and a bus would take a group of people up, and we'd play. It was the Continental most of the time, sometimes CBGBs, but it would be the Continental this specific time. And we're going up for a St. Patty's Day show. We're getting close, so this had to be. I didn't figure out how many fucking years ago it was, but it was a while ago. So we had this show coming up, and we'd always do the state. We would do the St. Patty's Day shows with Murphy's Law. So
I remember
about
those. Yeah.
yeah, so about a month or two before that, Murphy's Law was playing in Westchester. So we're trying to get people for the bus trip, and we're there to see, and we're hanging out and seeing Murphy's Law and everything. And Jimmy goes, uh, Jimmy G from Murphy's, he goes, "Hey, listen, we're doing the St. Patty's Day show up at the Continental in New York. Loafass is playing. They're running a bus trip if you want to come see them." So after get come see this guy, and he points to me, and so after the show, Bildo comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, can I get your number? Because I want to go to that show, and I might have a couple other people." So I go, "Yeah, man." I give him my number. He calls me the next day. I end up meeting him at Tattoo Mom's, him and his brother, and he goes, "I need to get 25 tickets." I'm like, "I get 25 tickets? All right." So he had cash. He gave me the cash. I gave him tickets. And those guys came up. They didn't even had never heard us or anything. They just wanted to come up and see Murphy's Law. So they came up. They got on the bus. They came up, and then he ended up liking us. Well, he was friends with Steve. So Steve did the first Angry Drunk Festival thing at what's the place that fucking Bruce Springsteen played all the he sings about? What's that place in
That
Asbury
was
Park?
Stone
Stone
Pony.
Pony.
Yeah.
So it was at the Stone Pony. So he goes, "Hey, you want to come play at the Stone Pony?" We're like, "Fuck yeah, we'll play at the Stone Pony." So we went and he gave us, because Bill was talking us up and stuff like that, and Steve gave us his prime spot. We became quick friends with him. I mean, I was talking to Steve yesterday. Like, we're still like way close. He just sent me his latest comic book, Cal, in the
Nice.
mail. Really a good dude. And then they started doing those barbecues in the park in Lacey, in Hebrew Park in Lacey, and we
Mm-hmm.
would all play those every year. I mean, I think that we maybe missed one of them in like 12 years. And they were just like a great supporter of us. They've been really good friends. Yeah, we've been there like when everyone got married, when the kids were around. It became like family. It really did, and they were really good people. And anything we do in Jersey, it's always with those guys. Great people, man. And he does great art.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
like that's how Justin came and got in with those guys. I remember the second thing. I know you said you saw it on MySpace, but I'm telling you, I can remember a conversation telling those guys. They said, "You know any other bands that Philly would play?" And I remember saying that you guys, and I thought that we were the ones that invited you to that first show, but I mean, maybe not. I don't know.
You may have. That might be true. And actually, so that I hooked Justin up to them, and I tried for at least a year or two, and
Was
finally I pestered him enough. Uh-oh, Fish has left the shot. I guess he can still hear me. He probably needed another
I'm
beer.
back. I'm here.
Okay, so I had
did
actually
business.
I had pestered Justin. I was like, "You got to send your comic to these dudes in Jersey that I know." And after I pestered for like a year or two, and then I knew it was going to work out, and it worked out for me because then I would get free passes to the Comic-Con for my little networking, helping them
Yep.
out.
Yep.
I'm guessing that's why. Actually, speaking of Steve, I should have him. I should try to get him on here because in 2008 I had this radio show. It was called Ray Grady's Radio. It was on this little website,
Uh-huh.
this little radio show website, and I had Steve. I had Justin and Steve and several other people on. But whenever I had Steve on, I kept doing these sound effects, and he hated it. So I think I should have him back on to do a real podcast without, and I'm going to promise him no sound effects. But I think I should do that.
He'll complain for 3 hours and then do
it. Probably.
No, man. Like, yeah, I love that guy. I do. He's a really, really, really good, like, salt of the earth fucking dude. And I mean, and I know, like, even at the beginning of COVID and stuff like that, like when everyone was up in arms, like, and people were going crazy in different directions, like, he was one of those guys that he and I could always hop on the phone and talk and just, reminisce and have a good time and talk about shit we're going to do in the future and stuff like that. He was always a good dude, man. I love Steve.
Oh, Steve's awesome. So, okay, I can't forget to talk about this. So, we played a show. It was 2018, and this may have been the last show that we played together. It was 2018. It was at the Tusk, which is above the Woolly Mammoth Bar, I think. And it was a Crash Bang Boom reunion, or not reunion, but like an anniversary. Like, they had been, I don't know how many years they had been, a business or whatever. But we played this show. And that show was really great. We had just played Indianapolis the night before. And so we were up way late. We had to get up early. And we had drove all the way back to Philly. But it turned out to be a great show. It was a really awesome show. But you were having a little bit too good of a time that evening. And then at the very end, we're leaving, when there was still people there, but, it's kind of, gradually people are, easing out. And you're getting ready to leave, but as you're leaving, you're trying to tell me this joke about Indianapolis. But the problem was you were at a point of inebriation that I do not think you could get the words out correctly, but you were trying so hard to tell me it was this joke about Indianapolis. Now, you sent me a text today, and the text was which you didn't even know it was a joke about Indianapolis. So that joke was because we just had Phil on. Phil, he had sunglasses on during the podcast, yep. And you said something like, "Is it that sunny in Indianapolis, or is it always sunny?" No, that's what you said. You're like, "Is it always sunny in Indianapolis?" Yeah. And I was like, "That's it. That was it. It came full circle. It took all this time, and that was the prophecy you were trying to make. You were prophesying in your altered state." That joke would come through, and that today was the day.
Finally, I'm glad it came full circle because I say the band has different levels for me because I mean, if you haven't saw the band, we usually start off kind of drunk and get progressively worse.
Kinda.
throughout the show. So yeah, they call that level. They call that level 5 fish. They give me 5 levels.
Now, so they're always like spitting beer on you. That's something I think you encourage, and it's became like a thing during your shows. People spit beer on you. Are you not worried about hepatitis B?
No, I got my COVID vaccine.
I'm sure that would really help you.
I'm safe now.
Hepatitis.
Oh, with all of them. I just got the one.
It's a one for all. It's all in one.
I just go to the doctor. I say, just jab me up with everything you can. Just put it in me. At this point, I'm like a parka. It just beads off of me.
Like human pincushion.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I guess, but I don't know. I mean, I share joints with people. I'll drink out of their bottle.
Yeah, but the worst you'll get with that is herpes. I don't think you'll get hepatitis B.
I got my shots. I told you I lived in a funeral home when I was younger.
It's funny you mentioned that because I wanted to come back to that. So, something that I'm trying to ask every guest that I have on. But we'll start with this. Have you ever had any ghost experience when you were in that funeral home?
I didn't.
Or anything?
It's boring.
Nothing boring.
It's boring, but I didn't.
Oh my God! You even bored the dead. The dead didn't even like your jokes.
No, even the dead won't talk to me. It was unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, and not only that, but the house that we lived in before we moved out of Philadelphia, when we moved to the burbs and we raised the kids there, that house was built in the 1700s. It was an old
Mm-hmm.
farmhouse. You were there before, right? With the
Yeah, yeah.
barn?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That house was built in the 1700s, and it was the most peaceful house I think I've ever been to in my life. There was like no bad vibes. There was no like weird shit. I mean, there was creaks and knocks, but I think that was pretty
That's
normal
normal.
for like the
Yeah.
yeah.
That's expanding and
Yeah,
contracting of
so
wood.
so it was Ghost, Bigfoot, and aliens. Those are the ones you want to ask about,
Well,
right?
not necessarily aliens. I mean, you might have a lot of experience with aliens for all I know, but it's more UFOs. Like, have you ever saw a UFO?
Um, no, I thought I did, but it turned out to be yeah, it wasn't.
It
But
was
I haven't.
Sirius, the star
Yeah, it
Sirius.
was nothing serious. I mean, I haven't. So I haven't really had any experience like that. But I mean, I think that I have a little paranormal, normal like psyche because I will walk into rooms
Mm-hmm.
sometimes and feel like different ways. And I have one room in this house I live in now that every time I go into it, I get like, and I won't talk about it, but I get the same weird thought of something happening in my head. So I think that places hold energy. I mean, listen, Bigfoot, I think he probably did exist, but probably doesn't anymore. I dated a girl in high school that kind of looked like Bigfoot. Um, she had big feet too. But aliens,
Mm.
I'm sure that there's got to be something out there, man. I mean, so I don't know if they ever like if they're coming here and visiting us or if shit like that's going on because all the time and all the space and all that shit has to line up. But and Ghost, I mean, I don't know if I believe in ghosts, but I mean, I believe in energy, and I think that shit continues to go. Like when you die, like that shit that came out of your body has to go somewhere, right? I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm smart enough to realize how dumb I am, and just don't understand some of these concepts. I have trouble enough with my own life, but like yeah, I haven't saw too much weird shit other than I do get those. There are places where I walk into and I get total feelings like maybe I was there before, or I think like someone else, like my mind goes to a place it wouldn't normally go. But that's about it. So I would
So,
like to
how has
see.
it been? Go ahead.
I do want to believe in all those things, though. I hope all those things are real. That being said,
What it all really comes down to is until you actually see something or hear something, it's good to just be skeptical and not believe it. That's the way I always was. That's the best way to be, in my
yeah,
opinion.
probably. So, what was your ghost story? Where were you in Philly that you thought that you had ghosts in your apartment, or maybe you did? I don't know. But
Oh, that was
you,
John and I's first apartment. We had ghosts in that apartment, and it was
where
literally
was it?
that was at so the way it's spelled, you would think it is spelled Shelton, but that's not the way it's pronounced by the natives. It's
Shelton.
pronounced Shelton, right? With the
Shelton.
you, even though there's no S, you still put that S in there. Shelton
Shelton.
Avenue.
Yep.
Yeah, it was right by there was this place called the Hathaway House. It was right on Wissahickon and Shelton is where this apartment was. But that was the very
Ah,
first apartment we had when we moved up there. And that place was super haunted.
really?
There was all footstep like hallway. There would be footsteps in the hallway, like right there, and there'd be nothing there. The door would jiggle, doorknob would jiggle, lights would turn on and off. It was, but I scared it off though. I ran it off because I kept telling it. I was like, if you're gonna stay here, you got to start paying rent because it's expensive.
Ah!
And ever
Yeah,
since, and it just went away. It's just like, nah, not gonna do that.
that's what you got to do.
But
They got to chip in.
exactly, yeah, but it didn't like that. They didn't want to. What did Phil call it? A ghost job. They didn't want to get a ghost job.
Yeah, those are. Yeah, I think I heard you talk about it. Those are the mafia jobs. So those are the absentee.
Allegedly,
Yeah.
allegedly,
Well,
mafia jobs.
if there were a if there was such thing as a mafia, those would be the jobs
Right.
that they would give. Yes, correct.
I wanted to ask you about Philadelphia and moving from there. So you technically, but you spent a lot of time in Philadelphia. But so I've been out where you were, but you've spent your time in the city even before you moved outside the city a little bit. But what has it been like adjusting to life in North Carolina? Are you
Well,
bored or are you content? How would you describe it?
so I've been working a lot. I do go back. a good bit. I go back at least like once every 2 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that's because my youngest daughter, she still lives in Philly, so I like to go visit her and spend time with her. Um, but we were like, my wife and I, both of our daughters graduated. We became empty nesters, and we're actually getting. This is a story. We're getting ready to move back into Philly. We had actually looked at a place because I love the city. I love being able to walk to places. I love going in cheap dive bars and having conversations with people. I like the culture. I like the museums. I like all that shit. So we were going to move into the city from the burbs, and COVID happened and everything shut down. So I just wanted to be like where we were living outside the city. We had acreage and I had a big house and we could be out and do stuff. And like the thought of moving into a place that was you're so confined was just really uh, it was threatening to me. I didn't like it anymore. Plus, people were at each other's throats and people were judging people and all that shit, and I just didn't want to be around. So we came down here, and it's the South, man. It's more open. Like people are fucking out and doing shit, and
Mm-hmm.
I fucking loved it, man. And I ever since then we've been able to make good friends. Uh, it's interesting because everyone's older down here. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
definitely in like there's a lot of retirees or close to retiring around here. They're young retirees, a lot of like ex firefighters and cops and people that maybe worked contractors who union guys that put in a bunch of years, some retired military, like stuff like that. But a lot of people who did those type of things that man, they're out like having fun all the time, man. They're always out. Like life slows down at 10. That's when I used to go out, but that's when everyone's going in now. But you could go out. People were fun, and to me, it was about getting to spend time with my wife and kind of do things together because we had kids early. We had kids early. We were always the first with kids, the first to get married, the first with kids, the first to buy a house, the first to do all that bullshit. So we didn't have that anymore. We're empty nesters. And for me, I like to cook. I came down here. I have like a professional kitchen. I have an outdoor kitchen. I enjoy doing that shit. So I do miss the city. And I went back 2 weeks ago. Uh, I still I do like financial service stuff. So I still have some clients up there. And I went up and it was great. There's a lot of new places. There's things happening. But it's the same deal where I can't wait to get there, but I can't wait to get fucking out either. And I come back and I can relax. And yeah, I miss some of the hustle and bustle, but uh, I think that I'm starting to go more towards that I can do without it and enjoy like a lot more of like life stuff. I heard you talk about hiking, you fucking hippie, but I like doing shit like that too, man. I go. I put on a lot of weight during COVID and I lost a bunch of it. I lost like 60 pounds when I moved down here.
Nice.
And yeah, I run on the beach, when it's nice enough, which is 9 months, 10 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And um, we, we, this is going to sound fucking corny, but the wife and I got her for Christmas because we don't need anything else. So for Christmas, I got her this little like game pack thing, and all it is like different places in North Carolina that you scratch off and you can go to and like different things to try. And that's just like what we're doing. We're like kind of exploring the state. Uh, I'm a big believer that, you know, I think this is, I think you're kind of like this too, Earl. And I think this is why you had success with the band and you did things, is because, you can have fun anytime if you really want to. And you meet good and you reflect and the people you meet are reflecting upon you. And it's just you can go out and have different adventures and try different places, and it really doesn't matter where you are. There's always good people around. There's always assholes, but there's always good people too. And we
Mm-hmm.
came down here and we made a life, man. And I fucking love it. I can still do. I'm real close. I mean, it's cheap flights out of Wilmington. I fly Wilmington to Wilmington round trip for under $100. I can use Spirit Airline out of Myrtle Beach. I can be a place, 100, $120 round trip.
Mm-hmm.
And So I can go get that whenever I want, but having the area down here just to kind of relax and have my own space. I mean, I have a couple friends around here and some people that come around, some couples we met and stuff like that. But like we get a lot of visitors. Like I have a lot of people from up north that come down and visit. Even bands that come through town. We had the Cheats and the uh, Riverside Odds. They were coming through. They were playing a show in Wilmington. I did like I smoked a pork shoulder for them. You know, we did pulled pork and shit like it. So we get lots of visitors, but really it's just kind of it's cool, man. I dig it. I'm not getting bored. I don't think I've been bored in a long time. Like in fucking 30 years, man.
No,
Don't.
there's too much.
It just
There's
too
too
much
much
shit
to
to
do
do,
get
man.
bored. How can a person get bored? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, things can be boring, but there's always things to do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be. There's always something you can figure out to do. Always.
100%, man. 100%. So I do have an announcement. I know that we're kind of probably wrapping up our time. We're going long. Are we going long?
No, I'm just checking my list to see if because what I did, I actually wrote down some stuff that I think I already asked everything that I was going to ask. I think we already covered all the topics.
Oh, I want to go back to one thing because this is the Berkeley story. Okay.
Okay.
So that's how we met that whole band, and those guys would put us on. We played that show. So, but before that, we had played an angry. We played. It was an angry drunk thing that we played down there, and they put us up at the not at the Empress, which was always a fucking blast, but they put us up at that Berkeley place before it had been remodeled. Okay, so this.
Oh yeah. I
So
was there.
if we had had that party before that, no one would have even known because
Right.
they put us up in this room, and this is when it's me, Tommy, Veronica, and Mike, the old classic life. And this room that they put us in had it was the four of us in one king size bed, and this room was so fucking nasty, Earl. We unpacked our merch bag and we took all our T-shirts and we laid them over the bed.
Yeah.
And then we slept on top of that. But it had like the drop ceiling, and it looked like there was like blood and pus or something like it looked like it was trying to crawl through the drop ceiling. There was like jizz on the outside window. It was the fucking nastiest, man. And then we came back, and the next year was when they did that when they had the party at the infamous hotel room party, which was just fucking.
Yeah.
I mean, people were putting fucking cigarettes out on the fucking brand new.
Yeah, I remember.
We actually had, if you remember, we actually had, and I think you guys either played or showed up, but we had a benefit show for the trashed hotel room at El Bar. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah.
And we took all the money and we gave it to our girl so she could try to pay her fucking credit card.
I remember that.
Oh my god, dude! There's a video of that. One of you guys come in. I'm singing, and I got I think I have a similar shirt, and it's like unbuttoned to here. And someone comes in with snow and slaps it right on my chest in the middle.
It was snow out, if I remember.
Yes,
I think Murdoch's Trash Bag might have played that. No, Murdoch's Trash. No, that
it
was
could have been Murdoch's Trash Bag. It could have been.
No, not that. No, that was a different year. That year was Ray Grady's. I know for sure. Yeah, that was a Ray Grady's year.
Yeah, but no, that was the one. And then I have an announcement to make.
All right,
so
go for it.
So not only am I a ex model and a professional singer, but also I was a father to two beautiful daughters who are now almost 30 and 23. And you probably remember them when they're like this high.
Yeah.
But I am my oldest got married over the summer, and I am set to be a grandfather in June.
Grandpa Fish.
That's what they're going to call me. That's the name we're going with. It's Grandpa Fish.
All right, Gramps. I think we're going to wrap it up. But here's what I want to do, and I want to say thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. I'm sure everybody enjoyed your presence. It has been glorious. And you're looking great for people that can't. For people that are just listening on audio, Fish looks really good. I must say, I'm impressed. I was really expecting you to come on and look all decrepit and like. I'm not joking. I really thought you were going to come on here and just look terrible. And I was mentally preparing myself for like, I just got to just pretend that he doesn't look like he's falling apart and he's only got a couple more years to live. So I'll just try to ignore that as I look at you. So, but all jokes aside, you really do look good.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, so keep
You
it
too.
up. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Well, I've always looked good, Fish. I don't know what to tell you.
You don't.
But here's what I want to do, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember the shows at the Abilene
Yes.
that we used to have? Okay, you would also book the Union Dead. You remember the band The Union Dead?
I do.
Sure you do. Okay, so what I would like you to do is you remember when you would get up there and announce the bands and introduce the bands?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
I would like you to go back, like, let's get, like, become a time machine, right? Like, get in the zone. Pretend we're back. 2004. All right, 2004, 2005. I want you to just pretend you're on stage and you are introducing the Union Dead. And go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all nations, I want to tell you, put your hands together, sit out of your seat and stand up, and put together for the one, the only, the Union Dead.
Something I said, you got me lying on your couch here for so long, just trying to get in my head. Yeah, you're always talking about a new medication to help me sleep through the night. Alright, just another misdirected sublimation, baby. I never could get it right. Sometimes I still fantasize about the shot. Therapy at times are irreversible. Damage and disease, I want a shot. Therapy at voices in my head, temper whisper in a scream. Forever, yeah, but I know who's on the line. I got everybody looking for money, honey. I'll never pay them on time. No, well, these cats, they got me nervous, but I could use some relief, yeah. They talking about this government of noble purpose, while the suggestions obscene. I think you know what I mean. I want a shot, go, therapy. I'll get that padded pencil, doctor. Give me what I need. I'm talking shot, go, therapy. That voice is in my head, temple whispers in a scream. But I'm feeling alright. in the Russian bloods. Now right in my head, what have I got? What a shot! No, never pay. Signs are irreversible. Damning tendencies. I want a shot. No, there will be. I'll get that manifesto, baby. You know what I need? I'm just a shot. Gun therapy. Doctor, please, please, please. I want a shot. Gun therapy. I'll voice in my head. Different whispers into screams.